literally translated to a great century or age, and it was a revival of the classical period. So it revived the Greek literature and art. During this time period, Louis XIV was part of the Bourbon dynasty, and they were the ones who dominated the 17th century. He ruled as an absolute monarch, and he believed in the rule by divine right, which was that God let him rule because he was the chosen one. He was also known as the Sun King during this period, and he built the great Palace of Versailles, or Le Château de Versailles. And during this period, he left to annex other locations to France, and he made it a really powerful nation. But he also left the country in great debt after the War of the Spanish Succession. Louis XIV was also known to really praise the arts and literature, so he built up the Academy of the Sciences, and he was extremely Catholic, so during his reign he revoked the Edict of Nantes, which removed the freedom of the French Huguenots, which were Protestants, to rule their religion freely.
France, Louisiana, it was, the expansion was France was able to get investment from the Indians, and with the Indians' help, they were able to create the town of New Orleans, which brought neighboring Indians. The colonial system with the Indians was that when France came to Louisiana, there wasn't enough European women for them to partner with, so they partnered with Indian women, and they also enslaved the Indians too, and brought some of the Indians to France. And France also lost Louisiana during the Treaty of Paris, and they lost it to Spain, and which was the western side, and the eastern side they lost it to England. And lastly, France regained Louisiana after by having the Treaty of San Ildefonso. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but with that treaty, they were able to regain France. They were able to regain Louisiana, and with that, after that, Napoleon Bonaparte decided to sell Louisiana to the United States, which led to the Louisiana Purchase and ended the presence of France in Louisiana.
How are you holding?
So the French Revolution, the French were divided into the clergy, commoners, and monarchy. And okay, so in 1780, so the hierarchy began to be questioned by the Enlightenment, and revolutionary ideas began to spread to the public. In the 1780s, there was an economic crisis in France, which caused Louis XVI to raise taxes on the commoners, and they were upset, so they began to revolt. In 1784, they attacked Bastille, which marked it as the end of the old monarchy and France's Independence Day. In 1789, they adopted the Declaration of Men and Rights, which stated that men were born free and equal in rights. In 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte, he overthrew the French territory and took over the French legislature.
King Louis XVI was born on August 23rd, 1754. He became king after his grandfather died, but he also inherited the country's financial debt and their unstable society. So he was already in a bad situation when he became king. And during this time, there was 3 estates: the clergy, the nobility, and the rest of the citizens. They had difficulties deciding or how they should count the deliberations and count the votes, and this was because the rest of the citizens who weren't the nobility or clergy, which consisted of about 80% of the population, they weren't getting their votes counted fairly. So the clergy and the nobility, they were getting most of the representation, and so at this point they met up at the Versailles, and the third estate, the population, the rest of the population took power, and they revolted, and King Louis XVI, King Louis says he kind of let the revolution happen because he still wanted to continue the monarchy. But in doing so, he was also less accommodating and less militant. So basically, it just went too far, and France was declared a republic in 1792, and this was not good for King Louis XVI, and him and his wife had to flee the country, but it was a failed attempt, and they caught him leaving the country, and so they executed him for treason. His wife was Marie Antoinette. She was very interesting. She was considered like a mistress in a way because she acted more of a mistress than an actual woman. She was also into, her main duty was to have a male child, but they died, so that wasn't good. So just their whole situation was really bad.
Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte was born in the year 1769 and died the year 1821. Napoleon Bonaparte was a very young leader, and he controlled older people, and he didn't really like that, so he decided to marry Josephine, which she was older than him. The way they met was through a party. Paul Barras invited them, and Paul Barras was a military leader, and what he did was he invited him to a party. What he did at the party was basically make Josephine comfort Napoleon, because Barras wanted to get with Josephine's best friend, and he couldn't afford to have both wives. Yeah, both wives. They got married in the year 1796, and they divorced in 1809. Bonaparte, he went to Italy, and what he did there was like face a battle that he was in. And while he was there, he wrote love letters back home, and through these love letters, he stated his emotions towards Josephine. But when Josephine replied, she pretended to love him. So by this, she never really loved Napoleon, so she faked all of his love towards him. And at one point, she pretended to be pregnant, and she told that to Napoleon. But when she went to Italy, because he was always asking her to go to Italy, he found out that she wasn't really pregnant. And when she got there, she stated that, oh, I had a quote-unquote abortion, but she was never really pregnant because she wanted to be with someone else. She always thought that Napoleon was boring. And, yeah.
No? Yeah, I get it.
Okay.